In studio right now, I'm going to play some audio before we get to this, but is Anthony Picente, the corrupt county executive. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's start out. This is Dennis Bova the other night on WKTV after the primary. Now, let's keep in mind he is currently ahead before the absentee ballots have been tallied. He is ahead by about 24 votes. So there is no victory yet. We will know by Wednesday? Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, here's what he had to say, and he made some pretty big charges, and it has ruffled a few feathers. So listen to this.
We're successful in this race. So moving forward and going into the general election, what are you looking forward to?
Beating Anthony Picente, Rowan DeStito, and the button shine and the whole corrupt Oneida County machine. We did it tonight. They tried to beat us, and we won. And we're going to win again in November 6th because, like I keep telling all these folks over here, if we come together, we do the right thing, we do things the proper way, you always end up on top. And that's what we did, and here I am.
Here's another clip. He went back at you again a little later on in the interview.
What is the most important priority that you're looking forward to?
The corruption in Albany, just like we have the corruption here with the Anthony Picentes, the Rowan DeStitos, the Buttonshines, Brindisi, and all these folks. I mean, It's got to end. It's got to stop somewhere, and I'm going to be the one who stops it.
We are in a world where we can just throw around the corruption word pretty easily. It seems.
We are. We're in a political basis that you could pretty much say anything. I mean, not just corruption. You could pretty much say anything, and it doesn't get questioned or it doesn't get
luckily
required
we
to get backed up by facts.
Luckily, we haven't reached the level of pedophile. Like, he's a pedophile. That could be coming. I mean, anything could happen from here. The way things are, you have taken offense to Mr. Bova's comments.
Completely, and I take offense from every standpoint of, and I don't understand it. I guess I really don't. It's more about. I mean, I don't know Dennis Bova very well. I met him one time, literally, maybe and seen him a couple times. Never been a part of, the political establishment, which is fine. I mean, new people can run all the time, but I don't know him well. I saw him. He asked to come and see me. I said, call me, come and see me, and that never happened. And and then all of a sudden on election night, it's like I'm the focal point.
He did have a press conference maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, where he came out against the hospital.
Yeah, that's
and their claim is, and I don't hear firsthand, I'm hearing this probably secondhand or even third hand at this point, because Mr. Bova doesn't come on this program. Their claim, though, is that they're upset with you because you told Republicans to vote for Nichols because that would be a better opponent for the person you're really supporting, and that's Marianne Buttonshot.
Well, first of all, I told Jeff earlier to really think that I'm focused so much on this assembly race, of which less people voted in this primary than the school board election in Utica.
Think about that.
And even, I mean, and considering it's Utica, Rome, Whitestown, Marcy, Deerfield, Florida,
Frankfurt.
That assembly district for Republicans. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I did not support either candidate, and I made it clear, actually, even before, as this campaign heated up, that I wasn't supporting any candidates that were opposed to the hospital, regardless of party or primary or affiliation. But I had no interest in getting involved in that. And for him to come on television and use my name, along with the Roy DeStito, who, if he hasn't checked, is not in office, has never been mentioned in anything that the governor's done. Anthony Brindisi, the same. I mean, even though the ads, talk about him being, Andrew Cuomo's right-hand man, which is ridiculous. But to do that and to not have any basis for it in a race what's that got to do with the assembly and beating me? I mean, well, then I guess he's going to run against me next year, which is fine if I run. Yeah, and all of that is just it's just what we've become now. I mean, that we can just say things. Yeah, and then and when I called him about it.
You called it.
Absolutely.
You called him on the phone?
Absolutely. I called him on the phone because. Okay. And
how did that go?
How did it go? Well, I'll tell you how it went. Here's how it started.
Someone said to me that he was kind of maybe didn't mean to use those words. Was kind of excited Did he back down from that?
No, he did not.
Actually, doubled down.
He doubled down,
heard,
really.
yeah.
I mean, when I called him, I mean, the first thing I said to him was when I called him like 3 times and I said I was going to keep calling him until he called me back I had gotten his number from Joe, a WIBX of the city chairman. And I called him, and when he called back, I said, Dennis, I want you to take this number down. And I gave him the 798-5766. Now,
what number is that?
That's the number of the district attorney. And I said, if you got something to say about me or that you're going to go on spouting corruption, then I think you ought to back it up. And maybe that's the starting point, because I don't know what you're talking about. I find it disgraceful. I find it shameful that you would get on, that I had nothing to do with your race whatsoever, and that you would just get on and call me corrupt. Where's that come from, and what do you base that on? And
even if you had recommended to friends or other Republicans that they vote for Nichols, would that reach any level even remotely close to corruption?
His first answer was, "Well, you did. I wanted to meet with you. You didn't meet with me." I said, "So you called me corrupt? That's how we address these things." And then he talked about the primary with Nichols, and I said the same thing I just said a few moments ago, that, look, I mean, they didn't get involved in the primary whatsoever. There was nothing to get involved in, especially, given the circumstances, but I wanted to know what the basis of corruption was.
Yeah.
And I said, and if you have it, go to the district attorney, but you should say it. The next time somebody asks you what it is, you have an obligation. You want to be in this business, then you should be forthright and forthcoming in terms of what do you know, or what is
the corruption you're
what's
quoting?
The corruption? And then to say that, that affects families. That affects, not just mine, but whether it's, and I'll defend the others, and they can say, well, there he goes again, defending Democrats. Well, no, I'll defend people when they're wrongly accused.
Right.
Absolutely. And Roland Estito, never, I mean, not even, hasn't been in that seat for years. Never mentioned in anything that the governor's people are. Anthony Brindisi, when you look at these commercials about him being the right hand, ridiculous. And but to put me and you're going to run for state assembly, what are you going to do? You're going to root out corruption locally. And okay, what is it?
What is the corruption?
What is it?
So when you gave him the DA's number,
he said, he kind of thought that was clever or whatever, and I said, well, then call him. And he said, oh no, we're going higher than that. And I said, I said, I don't know who you're listening to or what you're doing, but go, I'll give you the Attorney General's number then. And he said, even higher.
Even higher.
So I concluded, and I didn't tell him, but I concluded that I must be part of the Mueller investigation, because clearly, I mean, how high can you go after the Attorney General?
Where do you go after?
I'm kind of wondering,
Yeah,
it's just, and here's a guy who, like I said, I don't know, who voted once in the last 20 years, literally. He hadn't voted other than registered last year to vote, because he hadn't voted since 1995.
Yeah. Well, he was living out of the country for a while.
Well, and that's fine, but he was living in the country for a time, and he didn't vote, and then registered, and all of a sudden then, is running for the assembly, and then chooses to come in my direction and others. But the lesson here, or not even the lesson, the question here is why, and based on what? Because you were in a close race. I mean, and this goes back to the gracious winners that I always see from time to time. When they win, they attack, and it's really crazy. And look, I've been called corrupt before by other elected officials, and again, ask them to back it up.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything. I mean, look, anybody that knows me, that knows what I've been about in my entire career, that knows of my record. There's the fact that I have to even say something about it is disgusting in that regard, or shameful that I even have to address that. But
it is an easy word to throw around
is.
today.
And I know that they play the word games with it, and go out and get Webster's dictionary and then all the other stuff and talk about it.
Yes,
corruption today means you're stealing.
Right.
You're stealing public money. You're dirty. You've betrayed the public trust in more ways than one. I mean, look around. I mean, everybody can see it in everything that takes place. And to have that said about me is, and by a novice in this case, and someone who has no basis whatsoever,
right?
Is I'm just I'm tired of this ridiculous world that we're in politics and in everything, because we have a president that just says things that, about people that are ridiculous. And it's given everybody, it's like it's given everybody carte blanche to do the same when there's no basis of it. And that's what's most discouraging in this business as I go through it each day.
Do you have you seen anything? This has been a crazy race at this level, where there was going to be a Democratic primary, and now Chris Salatino knocked off the ballot. Yeah. I mean, this has been a very interesting lead up to this race.
It has been. I mean, you got on one hand you got the congressional race, and then you got two, the assembly race on the other side with
two assembly, 118, 119,
118, 119. That one was. And it was a shocker right there. And not knowing, and again, even though part of that seat is in Oneida County, a few of the 4 towns, I think, or so. But again, I think that at least and the results will bear out. But you don't know today because people believe what they want to believe, and they see what they hear, and then they go in the voting booth and they react to it. And you don't know if in time that people are going to stop this negativity locally now.
Right.
Nationally, it's becoming an epidemic, and that's a shame. And that's really, it's not what we should be about.
Well, we're in the middle of this congressional race that is dirtier and probably going to continue to get dirty as time goes on.
I just saw another ad about Anthony, about how right next to him was when you talk about Cuomo and the Buffalo Billion. What did Anthony have to do with that?
Right.
And I could tell you firsthand. The funny thing about him being Cuomo's right hand, Anthony took the governor on more than anything, to the point where, and to bring up, just as an aside, the AMS announcement a few years ago, or 2 years ago, which, obviously never came through, but the groundbreaking. Did anybody remember the groundbreaking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there's photos, actually, if you search it on our website.
There's photos, but if you look at that photo, Anthony's not in it. And I'll tell you why he's not in it, because the governor, he teed off the governor at that time, and the governor...
He didn't get invited.
He didn't get invited. He was there, but he wasn't allowed to be... He wasn't allowed to hold a shovel.
Right.
Yeah. He wasn't allowed to hold a shovel.
You can be here, but you can't have a shovel.
Right, you can't have a shovel. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we are.
I want to ask you, Tina earlier this morning said Picente supported Democrat Arcuri over Republican Meyer for Congress.
Not true.
I didn't think that was true.
That is not true?
I worked for Ray Meyer.
I thought
Mike Arcuri is a great friend of mine, a very close friend.
Democrat McNamara over Republican Longaretta for DA.
Is that one true?
No.
I thought it could have been. Okay.
The one, Astorino over the governor, that would never have happened.
No.
It was the governor over Astorino.
I did do that one. And publicly. Look, publicly, that one was the public one. The other ones were, let
me throw a couple more at you, because you supported Brindisi over Republican Johnson for Assembly.
Supported how? I really want to know what that means, because people draw conclusions from, is Anthony my friend? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I knew Greg Johnson. Did I go out and work hard for him? Absolutely not. But
there does seem to be a coalition of Republicans and Democrats in the area that have worked on, whether it's Nano, on the hospital, on the comments, and you have a team. But my guess is that you would want to keep that team together.
The only Democrat I came out publicly for in an endorsement was Andrew Cuomo in 2014. And I did that, and if you look at the statement you made about other elected officials.
Yeah.
So working side by side with people each and every day and knowing them. And then to turn around and working to get things done, to go around and say, that if I work with Bill every day of the week and, for the next year, and then Bill's got a race against Jeff, and I turn around and say, and I've been saying all these things about working together with Bill, and I'm going to say, but Jeff's better, I got to get rid of Bill.
Right.
And I'm not a hypocrite in that regard. Yeah. No, I'm not. And look, my goal is to get things done for the community. None of this is about personal gain or anything else that everybody tries to point to. So, they're friends. We all grew up together, a lot of us.
Yeah.
A lot of us did, and we all grew up in this business together, too, and to that extent. But but it always comes back to me, and and the point here is, I've been a Republican for 36 years, as I said, 37. And, I look around at these guys who've been Republicans, as I said the last time, for 13 minutes and want to tell me who's loyal and who's not. I got more Republicans elected in time, and I served 3 county executives, worked for a governor. Worked the last time when, the Cuomo thing, I did that. Absolutely. won't do it again.
Yeah.
But for,
will you
for
endorse
reasons,
in this? Will you endorse
Mark
Molinaro?
I will.
Okay.
I will.
I like him. I'm not sure.
But
I think this last election, this primary, doesn't give him a great deal of hope right now because people are still supporting Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, clearly it's
a tough race to win.
It's, especially when an incumbent sits on $30 million. I mean,
right.
that really makes it difficult.
And New York City, where the bulk of that vote is going to come from.
The far left that is New York City.
Wrap up the issue on Dennis Bova.
Sure.
So the conversation ended not necessarily
well. Yeah, it ended. He wanted to know if we were through here, and I said, frankly, I thought we were through before it even started. But yeah. Look, I expect I expect an apology or something. I mean, and you should just not be able to get away with saying that about people without something to say to back it up. It's like it's not the same as it's not the same as saying I don't like the hospital. It's not the same as saying I don't like what you're doing with the county budget. It's not the same as saying I don't like your policies. I don't like the way you're running that government. When you use the word corrupt, you've implied something, and now you better own up to it and speak up and be a man and be a
and in terms of policy, the position of assemblyman, just to wrap this up, he's saying when he goes to Albany and he is elected, he will move the hospital to St. Luke's where it belongs. As an assemblyman, does he have even remotely the ability to pull something like that off?
First of all, that train has left the station,
and
anybody that continues to spout that that's the alternative here is just really barking, up the wrong tree, or just, we're past that point.
Yeah.
We've been past that point. We've been past the point of the funding. The CON had been approved by the state health department. The process is in
So he would
moving.
take office if he were elected, if he were to win.
Sure.
He would take office in January. What ability would he have to be able to accomplish anything at that point?
As a Republican in the Assembly, very little.
Okay.
I mean, especially this project is down the road. The only thing that would derail this project is the hospital itself, and in the regards of not being able to accomplish other funding, but I don't even see that. So
I
mean we're way past that, and it's time to move on. And the same with all these people running on this hospital. I thought, and the last time they did it for the council, none of those people won.
That is true. The county executive, Anthony Picente, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
I appreciate
nice
it.
color scheme today. I like the suit. It's nice.
Popping.
Yeah, popping right out there.
Popping.
Hold on. We'll take a break and we'll come back.